All right, welcome. Taking a moment to just feel stillness. Stillness is the foundation of our life. And when unexpected sounds happen, it's an opportunity to deepen the sounds and the detail. Take you deeper into presence. And so in the absence of resistance, all of life becomes a meditation. The topic today is a big one, how to make life meaningful. In many ways, it's a little bit of a sad question. Why are we meaningless to begin with? One moment we're in spirit form, vapor. Next we find ourselves in these bodies, in this dimension, with all these sights and sounds and flavors, everything we feel and hear and touch, all the shapes and sizes and colors. It's strange to find ourselves longing for meaning when we're in such a packed place, full of opportunity to assign meaning. But that's actually where the trouble starts. Most of us, if not all of us, are conditioned to assign meaning. It's not meaning that we chose. It's not something we came upon in the realization of self, but rather that we inherited and blindly repeat. Most of the institutions of our upbringing are well-meaning, and they all have their own perspective, their own lens on life. So when we're in our formative years, we just absorb these lenses as our own, never really questioning it. Then we spend the rest of our life trying to let go of these layers of beliefs. Ultimately, every belief is a limiting belief. Certainly when it hasn't arisen from your own experience. Everything we read and hear and see is somebody else's experience. Very often something they didn't even experience themselves. They just picked it up somewhere. There's a lovely quote by Einstein. If everyone just talked about the things they actually knew, the planet would be a really quiet place. So, learning to apply scrutiny and awareness to every single thought we give our attention to, because that which we give our attention to, we become. Learning to apply scrutiny and awareness to every word we speak, because every word carries a charge. And that which we speak, we become. So it's interesting in the search for meaning, it goes all the way back to Plato, who observed that man is a being in search of meaning. And that despite being in these incredible bodies, with our incredible minds, with each other, societies and the worlds and the specialties and disciplines we've created, that without meaning, all of that means nothing. You get depressed, anxious, afraid, might not even want to live anymore. So it's imperative to have meaning. And the way the mind tends to operate is to seek meaning on the outside. The mind always thinks we need to add to ourselves, we need to achieve, create, and own. That will make us expand, become bigger, become more real. Fortunately, the mind doesn't understand energy, only understands cause and effect. In the energy realm, owning, clinging, holding on to things always has a detrimental effect. Energy needs to flow. Much of our life is about finding flow. Simple examples of watching athletes move, how effortless it is when they're in the flow, everyone recognizes it. In our own activities, our writing, being by ourselves, our own thoughts, our work, our creative endeavors. The more flow, the better. And it's not about achieving an outcome. That's actually what blocks us from flow. In the context of writing, I always say, if you think you know what you're going to write before writing it, you're not in the flow. You cannot come up with something new from that which you already know. It's stale, it's old, there's no inspiration. The co-creative process, which is life, which is living, is to always have an element of uncertainty, element of the unknown. In fact, even when we create these comfort zones and time goes by, even if life doesn't come along to create change, usually it does, but we are our best change maker. It's not natural to be standing still. So in this quest for meaning, the very first thing is to get comfortable with change. Let go of control. So the basic aspects of what the mind seeks is in opposition to what the soul wants and deserves. A lot of these blocks, mental blocks, dissipate very quickly once you poke a little bit at them. You can't predict the future. Anyone here can predict the future? No? It's a rhetorical question. Yet we live as if we do, as if we can know what's going to happen in the future, our future life. We don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow or right now. The microphone may fail. Power might go out as it did in some places recently. And it's always our ability to respond versus react that makes the difference. Respond, we move through it. We may even discover new things that we didn't know about ourselves or the world. If we react, we're just essentially trying to repeat the future, living from the past. Both have a distinct sensation associated with them. This is how beautiful life is. When something is good for you, it feels easy, light, fun, joyful. The body responds immediately. If something is to our detriment, it feels hard and heavy, and we have to will our way forward. So life has this really beautiful design, and it's not even subtle. We just complicate things and block ourselves from hearing it and seeing it with our incessant stream of thinking or attachment to the external. So seeking meaning in the external is equally fraught with complications. Even when we achieve things, we may experience joy, but it's temporary joy. It fades very quickly. And then we might seek another outcome, a different goal, thinking this time it has to be different. I gotta try harder, work harder, think harder, plan harder, educate myself more. Put so much pressure on ourselves to make our life happen. Try to make our life happen ahead of living it. The more and more you hear these phrases, and the more you realize how silly it is the way we've been conditioned to live. Of course, there's an even deeper meaning in things happening the way they happen, and that is life constantly prodding us to leave our comfort zones, triggering us to grow, not because it's mean, not because it wants to annoy us, but because it wants us to grow. And life isn't even some separate entity that has its own way about things. We're all just really experiencing our lens, our filter, our conditioning, our own universe. Every single person here has their own world. It's quite amazing. So all the things we project out are a reflection of who we are. So we're only always experiencing ourselves. That's an important first piece to internalize. Coming out of victim state, coming out of separateness, that can keep us trapped for many lifetimes. Once we take control of our happiness, take responsibility for our happiness, it's a new ball game. And all those assigned blind meanings that we've been imprinted with start to crack. Sometimes slowly, sometimes rapidly. We start to question, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? Certainly by midlife, everyone experiences a midlife crisis of sorts. These days I hear more and more about a third life crisis, even quarter life. So once the seed of awareness cracks and starts to grow, there's no stopping it. Just like those beautiful videos you see on YouTube about planting seeds, and with as little as a little splash of water and some sunlight, all the intelligence starts to grow. It's not about the plant figuring out what it wants to be. When it It's about creating the conditions to allow yourself what you're meant to be. And we're no different. Everyone here has a blueprint that contains your meaning, your purpose. And the conditions are quite basic. Eat well, sleep well, rest well. And of course, observe well. That's the big piece. Our identification with our thoughts is the primary weight of our existence. It's essentially what the ego is. So learning to accept change, letting go of control, allowing your intelligence to unfold. We tend to think of self-work, inner work as expansion, becoming a bigger person, but really it's about letting in the light of awareness, letting in the love, all that which we try so hard to keep it out of us. It's remarkable why we do it in the first place. Well, actually, it's obvious why we do it in the first place, because unconsciousness is the fuel of life. There's nothing anyone here that has done anything without the implied sense that by achieving it, you will fulfill something you're missing. That's our species. We don't do anything unless we feel like we'll get something out of it. Fill the void. Some people get offended when they hear that. No, I deserve my career and my salary and the house, my car. No, I had my family out of love and they're going to love me back just the way I want them to. It's not meant to offend. It's just how life is designed to move us forward. And once we recognize that, we can stop fighting. We can stop insisting that the reality in front of us should be different. Nothing in the history of the world, maybe even other planets or dimension, has ever changed after it's happened from us wanting it to have happened differently. Yet again, that's how we continue to live, in resistance to something that's already happened. There could be no greater waste of time and energy than that. And so similarly, as we focus on goals and outcomes to fulfill ourselves, only to realize that that which we achieve can only provide temporary, at best, temporary happiness. And that eventually, after we do this a few times, most people wonder there must be a better way, and we start looking, where's the last place I haven't yet looked, which is within. Start to turn inward. And again, the outside, the external world is not to be diminished. There's some doctrines that play down or even deny the physical world. And no, we should absolutely experience it, love it, seek ourselves in it, because then we realize we can only experience true life through it, in non-resistance, in non-judgment, in non-labeling, in non-defining. All of those things keep us separate from life. Everything around us is an expression of life, consciousness, just as we are. The moment we put a label on it, we create distance. That which I define is over there, and I'm over here. Little hit of separateness. Define the next thing, label the next thing. All day long we label things. We don't actually experience the tree any longer. It's just a tree. Also inanimate objects. The painting is no longer an art form that once inspired you and you couldn't wait to buy it and bring it home and put it in the spot on the favorite wall where you envisioned it. Now you walk right past it. What happened? When we live through the mind, in our head, we live through labels. Labels and definitions and projections. And that's how we lose the connection, the lust for life, even in our partners, even in ourselves. We lose our own connection to our true self. The mind has its purposes. It's great for information gathering, analysis. It's great for executing once you have a plan. But to really know what's right for you, what's your meaning, what's your purpose, what are you here to do? It doesn't know you, it's just a tool you use. So the knowing of who you are comes from within. It's a deeper knowing, it's more of a feeling. We've all experienced that as intuitive hits. Something resonates, something doesn't. It's just a question of expanding, growing that awareness muscle. So we live more and more from that inner knowing. And yes, we've been told, most of us, you can't trust your feelings, you can't trust your intuition, only facts are believable. Again, that's just conditioning. You can try it out for yourself. You can live that way, go to the supermarket aisle and try to pick a cereal from mere comparison. You'll lose your mind very quickly. But look at the boxes from a place of feeling, and usually one or two very quickly jump out. So again, this beautiful, simple life that's been designed to guide us. What feels right, what feels wrong, what resonates, what doesn't. And when we're so in tune with our own knowing, our own what's right for me, duality fades away. It feels so right, not defensive, not based on comparison, looking at others, what are they doing? But from within, this feels right for me. This concept of right and wrong in the world around you goes away. Talk about relief. Wow. To no longer have to judge, walking through your day-to-day. That alone is worth it. And even more so, now you want others to feel the same way you do, to feel their truth. And their truth no longer clashes with yours, because yours is not based on judgment, comparison, evaluation. It's based on resonance. Resonance is an aspect of energy. You can only help others to the degree that you've helped yourself. You can only free others by freeing yourself first. You can only love others to the degree that you love yourself. It's not selfish. It's necessary. We're born alone, we die alone. It's not a sad thing. It just means we're here to discover ourselves. It's the only thing that matters. The world you're experiencing is your world. So look at that world as a mirror, as a teacher. You're already well on your way, coming out of the resistance, out of the judgment, out of the smallness of believing our thoughts. If you're only reacting to positive thoughts, ooh, I like that, I want more of that. If you're only resisting and pushing down negative thoughts, oh, I don't like that, that doesn't feel good, you're not really free. You're living at the mercy of your environment. You can keep fighting that environment forever, but that's a losing battle. The point is to transcend even this quest for meaning. We don't find it in the external. It's kind of the same pattern over and over. It's that we seek ourselves through other people, seek ourselves through accomplishments, seek ourselves in the outside. Our names, our bodies, our job title, who we're with, what we own. So much attachment. Look around and watch some headlines. Everyone's fighting for something. They're all fighting for surface issues. Things around them that they're looking to control, to make them feel good. The real reason you should be kind to each other is because it hurts you to be unkind first. So I'm not being nice to you because I want to be nice to you or feel good about myself being nice to somebody. But I've developed the awareness that if I have ill thoughts about you or anyone else, that hurts me first. So I'm doing it for myself. But that self-love then becomes your leading spear. You cannot do less to others. You have to love others when you love yourself. If this world gets to a place where we have leaders and role models who answer to their own conscience, then it'll be a better world. Maybe Earth School is not meant to be a better world. It's meant to accelerate individuals and graduate us out. That's a different topic. So then what does meaning look like if it's not found on the outside? Joseph Campbell, one of my favorite authors, has a great quote. It's that the world means whatever you want it to mean. But for that, you have to free yourself first. Free your mind. Free yourself from judgment. And yes, we might meditate. We might take classes, we may journal, we may work on ourselves. But ultimately, you can find meaning in every single nuance, in every single detail, in every single moment. The fact that something is happening is far more exciting, enlivening, exhilarating than the content of it. Content matters a little bit, but it's a distant second. You can be just as excited standing on the peak of a mountain you just climbed than you can in a boring business meeting. We get to wherever we're meant to go and meant to be by learning to be here, liking to be here, loving to be here. That's what we've been tasked with in this life. whatever intelligence, whatever creative forces are behind all of this, they've tasked us with one single objective. And that is to learn to love ourselves. It's a pretty good deal, if you ask me. And so there's this source of love and light, and it's patiently waiting, patiently but firmly, prodding us, pushing us, triggering us. And we're doing so much overtime work to try and keep it away, keep it out of us. Letting go is so scary, letting go of control of what we think we know, even though we know nothing. It comes down to a question of nervous system wiring. So seeking, the questions I often get, these ecstatic experiences, where you have insights into your uninhibited self, or universal love. All of those bypass the most important aspect of life, and that is the journey. Again, there is no outcome. You can take a helicopter to the mountaintop, take some pictures, or you can do the hike. Those pictures will carry completely different meaning. The former will be vacuous, haphazard, flippant. And the latter will carry an energy of digging deep, sweat, making decisions, experiencing your limits. So the energy attached to all the things around us carry truth, speak truth to what has gone into them. So ultimately, the meaning reveals itself as a result of the degree of consciousness and intention, care, love that we put into things, into our actions, into our words. And then you discover the meaning that is captured by a snapshot in time, a milestone, or an achievement. It's only the result of the meaning of every moment that led there. We look around and we see a world that is designed very differently. The rat race, the outcome-orientedness. I always say there's no such thing as an innocent birthday party. You always wind up reflecting on where you're at, the number in your bank account, where you think you should be, what are others doing. It's a tangled mess. So we have to wade our way through it. But ultimately, it's the challenges that lead to our calling, that which you've worked through, which you've overcome. That's where you cultivate depth and authenticity, a genuine energy about you, someone who's walked the walk. Isn't just talking. It's from that place that we then give back, where we can help others, because they see You've been through it. I trust you. Once again, meaning invites itself into your life without you seeking it, but from focusing on yourself, doing the best you can, moving forward, adopting mantras like, is this true? What does this say about me? I can't wait to see what happens next. Open energy field, receiving mode. We don't have to wait to be perfect either. It doesn't take much. Everyone here has gone through something. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. And so perhaps it's grief from losing a loved one, challenges in the workplace, depression, addiction, a number of things. We don't have to wait till we're perfect. But in those things, we can already be of service. And that is the ultimate meaning. It's the ultimate nourishment. Again, a paradox to the mind that thinks you have to accumulate things, make yourself bigger, add to yourself. That's not how energy works. It's by giving, by sharing, by being of service. That's how we enter the flow and stay in the flow. So this personal meaning then that we so seek grows into something much bigger than ourselves. In fact, eventually that sense of self dissolves altogether. State of no self. That's the path we're all on. Disidentification with our life story, our name, our bodies, our genders, even our families, our histories. Topic of meaning has many different tentacles, many different dimensions. I wanted to see if anyone has maybe a personal story or a personal question around meaning, finding greater application in this life. I can't see because of the light. Oh, there's a gentleman right there. Can we pass him the little thing so everyone can hear?
Thank you. I have a question about how you think about celebrating outcomes that you've achieved. I think in my life, at times I achieve something, and then I feel good about myself, and then I kind of lose the momentum.
Yeah. Thank you. Great question. So there's two ways of doing anything and everything in life. Either unconsciously or less unconsciously. When it comes to celebrating, if you have attachments there and it build up to that moment and you put all your eggs in the basket and all this energy that went in, you never really even cared about the process. There's a lot of pressure on that moment of celebration, and even if you do get it, you celebrate it, you might very likely feel the plummet when it fades and the downturn, so the extremes of that. The more you've celebrated, the more you've enjoyed the journey, the more aware you are of a process versus the outcome. You'll still, of course, achieve things and get to the finish line, and you can celebrate it, but it'll be with perspective. A perspective that knows that I don't need to cling to this. It'll last as long as it lasts. I'm going to enjoy it for as long as it lasts. And when it starts to fade, heck, I'm going to enjoy the fading of it. But to be there with your experience as it arises and as it passes, as it shows up and as it leaves. That's the flow. And that's a much more contained trust container than the high of the achievement and then dealing with the plummeting. As I went along, and I'm an extreme doer, like I love to do. I get downloads and then I start doing. My main challenge is to not push too hard, because I tend to have such forward momentum in my being. It's always been that way. So I have to remind myself when I feel the flow being stagnant and slowing down to just step back and then invite it back in. So you can't rush these things. But then it's gotten to the point where people are afraid often that when they just release themselves and surrender to the flow, that they're just floating aimlessly and life has no direction, and what's going to happen? Will you just be passive, a doormat for life? And I found personally, and from observation by others, that the opposite is the case. The universe is waiting, just waiting for us to be worthy receivers, for us to tune ourselves to the flow. And it will just bombard you with idea after idea after idea. You'll have to say, stop, I still have to eat, still have to sleep. I can only handle so much. Like I said before, that should be our biggest problem, is too much inspiration. But so that you have such a full life, meaningful life, content life, creative life, that these outcomes, yes, there's milestones, yes, there's outcomes, there's moments that you can kind of single out and say, awesome, I've achieved something. Celebrate it as much as you feel appropriate. There's something bigger there, to continue in the flow, to take on the next project. So I find though the celebration moments are less individual moments, but rather every moment. The distinction between everything that led up to that and that becomes less and less different. At this point, it's very hard to think backward. Sometimes you're asked to recount something that happened, or even the question of how was your day or your weekend. I'm like, it's really hard to think backward. So much forward momentum can take hold that you achieve something, if you're even aware of the achievement of it, and then just the next thing already starts to bloom. And if it doesn't, then you're in tune with your inner truth that says it's time to go to the beach, relax, do nothing. There's nothing more powerful than doing nothing with intention. Intentional doing nothing is the ultimate receiving mode. So you can just implement this in your life, and it will just propel you forward and onward. And because the lessons that got you to that state all revolve around stopping to smell the roses, losing yourself in the detail of things, meaning the aliveness of things, the aliveness of this table or that chair or the planks of wood that went into the floor here, the story behind it, the craftsmanship, the detail, every one of those is different. Losing yourself in the detail. No two trees are alike. Certainly no two humans are alike. That's the most amazing thing. You still find places where you can people watch. Just amazing. Everyone's so different. Incredible creative force is at work. There's so much when you look out into the world. It doesn't have to be that creative. Pineapples, coconuts, water lilies, all from a little seed that came from their predecessor. I'm not even going to the bottom, the creatures in the sea, purple, pink, and white and yellow clownfish. I mean, who needs that? From a sheer survivalist standpoint, that's not necessary. So there's this wonderful, creative, playful, inexhaustible energy behind all this that just wants to express. Even when things die, they're the mulch and the conditions for more life are created. Life. Create. And so we're holding us separate, keeping ourselves out of this playground. Losing ourselves in the past and the future, trying to control. No, I don't want this sandbox with these toys. I want a different one. These toys are amazing. What are you talking about? So it's developing a sense for less expectation, that outcome is a reflection to what you feel you're missing, using that as a mirror. Everything is a mirror. And kind of journaling around that, and even just a little bit more infusion of joy and fun and happiness in the process of I can't wait to get my camera gear or my sound equipment or my sketch pad or the book that I've been meaning to read, or wearing the clothes that I haven't worn in so long. I look at them every time in my closet and I can't believe I've never worn this pair of shoes or that. Make it something. Or give it away because it's carrying stale energy. I have a storage unit from before when I moved here back in LA. That's my greatest source of nightmares. I can feel it, its presence. I have to do something about it soon. But purging is extremely powerful. Every time I've done it, I'll be sitting on the closet floor, sobbing, an exodus of snot. What from? Energy. What does this say about me? If you can walk through the day as you experience things, this will keep you, a simple question like that will keep you on the side of awareness. You're aware of what's happening. You're not identified, labeling, judging what's happening. You're on the side of non-identification, non-resistance. So if we can do that with all our feelings, thoughts and feelings, then we're free. That's really what we all want to be. Good. Anyone else? Oh, yes.
So you said that we don't create meaning in our life. We basically discover the meaning in the life. So if someone is already in a suffering, in a lot of trouble, and is already suffering, how can that person find meaning in the middle of the suffering?
Yeah, great question. The question I asked earlier about has your life gone according to plan? Nobody raised their hand. And would you give your life back if you could? Also nobody raised your hand. A few times now and then somebody does raise their hand. And it's those who are in the middle of the turmoil, the chaos, the suffering, the lesson. So when you're in it, it doesn't feel good. Some of these things, depending on how far you've fallen, can be really, you have to crawl and scrape your way out of. The most important thing I've seen, and Usada is involved in helping people out of these more difficult life situations, is to surround yourself, or if somebody you know, surround them with higher frequency people. This is a blanket across the board strategy, is that the people you surround yourself with have the greatest impact on the trajectory of your life. If you have kids, I see now why my parents only let me hang out with certain people, not with others. It's a simple cause and effect of your friends are doing what tonight, you're going to go with them and do that, versus some other activity that might be more mindful or educational or artful, and then you're more likely to go with them to that. I was deeply depressed in my late teens, and no one could have pulled me out of that. Nothing anyone could have said would have helped with that. So somehow, slowly, you have to find a way by grace or intervention, however. But if we do have people like that around us, again, the most important thing is not to try to save them. You look out into the world, most people who are doing good things are primarily doing it to make themselves feel good. That's okay, it's just a lower level of awareness. So just being ourselves, being the light of our true self, that's the most healing force there is. The ability to listen to someone without judging them. Somewhere at some level they feel it. If you're filtering what they're saying through your own lens, your own mind, do you believe this, don't believe this, true or not true, at some level they can feel that. So again, the clearer and cleaner you are, your own frequency, the less judgment you have about yourself, the less judgment you can impart on others. And then your mere presence becomes a healing force in the world. And this is what happens, again, as we work on ourselves. You think you've worked through everything, and then suddenly there's ancestral stuff that comes up, and this isn't even mine. Oh, it's my mom's. And she got it from her mom. And then we start healing generational stuff that isn't even in our own lineage, just because we're so powerful. We can take on even more lower frequency and transmute them. So you can't help but become a healing force for others once you heal yourself. Or as you heal yourself. It's never complete. A healed person is a real person. And even in the process of healing, you're more real than you ever were. Back when you perhaps were wearing social masks, living by tradition or norms or blind patterns and beliefs. As you let go of these things, you become more real, and real is the most powerful currency. It'll make you stand out at job interviews, in the dating life, family and friends, or being in difficult situations. Being able to keep a calm head, clear mind, stay equanimous, feel your feelings as they are, without amplifying them, without adding to them, because you've already moved on to the next moment. Let's see what happens next. Okay, I feel good. Maybe I don't feel good, but let's see what happens next. This keeps you flowing, keeps you aware. So to sum that up, the answer, my response would be to just be in their presence. Let them feel your frequency. We've all been kids, and we know that we never listened to what was told to us, what our parents said to us. We absorbed how they carried themselves, how they handled each other, or stressful situations. We mimicked that. So the power of mimicry, just impart that on others by just being yourself and letting them be, not wanting them to be different either. But again, when you can let yourself be, you can let others be just the way they are. And that will heal them. Beautiful question. I can't see because of the light here, so if anyone else has something to say, okay, I'll do a time check. How about a closing meditation? Okay. The point of this meditation is not to keep your attention on your breath for as long as you can, but it is to notice when your mind has drifted, because your mind will drift. And in that moment when you notice, the reality doesn't match what you want it to be. Practice acceptance. And then take action to bring your attention back to your breath. Here we go. Closing your eyes and your mouth. Bringing all your attention to the incoming and outgoing breath at the entrance of your nostrils. There's a sensitive area below the nostrils and above the upper lip. You can feel the touch of your breath. If you have trouble locating your breath, you can breathe slightly harder once or twice. Once you feel the touch of your breath, return to natural breath. Normal breath. Let the detail of your breath pull you in closer, closer into the present moment. If your breath is shallow, let it be shallow. If your breath is deep, let it be deep. Whenever you're ready, you can gently blink open your eyes. Come back to this room. Notice your environment. Notice yourself and your environment. Notice your peace, your presence, and your aliveness. Stillness is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of consciousness. With that, I thank you for your presence and your attention, and your beautiful energies tonight. Scott will have some closing words. See you next time.
Thank you very much, my friend.